Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Aaron Richardson. I'm the mayor here in Fitchburg. I want to welcome you. I have with me Carla Tully from our clerk department, who will be translating in Spanish for those who need that.
Hola, bienvenidos. Él es el alcalde, Mayor Richardson, y yo soy Carla Tully, y yo estoy aquí para traducirles lo que tienen para ofrecer los de la ciudad.
I'm very excited about all of you that are coming here to Fitchburg. I want to welcome you here. It's exciting. This isn't something that happens very often, and I hope that you enjoy all the many services that we have here in Fitchburg. We're going to learn more about that from all our department heads, and they'll be up here to speak in just a second.
Estamos muy emocionados de tenerlos todos aquí y estamos muy emocionados también de darle la bienvenida a la ciudad de Fitchburg. Tenemos muchos programas diferentes que estamos felices de ofrecerles y el que estamos, se me fue la palabra, perdón, tenemos mucha ansiedad de que tomen, what's the word? Que tomen ventaja, gracias. Tomen ventaja de lo que vamos a estar ofreciendo. Gracias.
I did want to introduce some of our council members that are here tonight. We have Jay Allen, who is actually representing this area. He's in the blue shirt back here. We also have Joe Maldonado, who's on our city council as well, in the burgundy shirt. And Randy Udell, who's on the end here. He's also our council president.
Tenemos a tres personas muy importantes aquí con nosotros que son sus representantes de la ciudad. Tenemos a Jay Allen, que está aquí atrás. Él es el que va a representar a esta sección de la ciudad. También tenemos a Joe Maldonado y a Randy Udell, que también son representantes de la ciudad.
I'll now turn it over to Chad Brecklin, who's our city administrator, and he'll talk a little bit more about the format. And again, welcome and thank you for being here.
Ahora le vamos a dar perdónenme, la oportunidad al señor Chad Breckinson, que es el administrador de la ciudad, para que les dé un poquito más de información.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Fitchburg, at least future Fitchburg. We're happy to have you here. As Mayor Richardson mentioned, we have all of our department heads here assembled this evening, and they're just going to give a short presentation and tell you about the services that each of their departments offer. We also have Katie Crowley from Madison Mayor's office here as well, so if there are any specific questions or items for the City of Madison, Katie can help you out with those. And then after the presentation by our department heads, we'll take questions from the audience here. And then after that period of time, our department heads will hang out in the outer area of the room here. And if you have any specific questions for any of them, you can go ahead and chat with them. So I know I talked probably longer
It's
than
okay. Bueno, estamos muy felices de nuevo darle la bienvenida a la ciudad de Fitchburg. Aquí tenemos también a todos los directores de departamentos de diferentes departamentos con la ciudad que están para contestar sus preguntas. También tenemos a la señorita aquí de la ciudad del pueblo de Madison para que pueda contestar cualquier pregunta que hayan de tener.
So, Amy Mercer from our assessing department.
Aquí viene Amy Mercer, la asesora de la ciudad.
These are the council and the mayors. All right, so this is assessing. Assessing in the city of Fitchburg, we all follow the same statutes, but it'll be a little different for the town. In Fitchburg, we tend to revalue each year, or we typically do. And so with bringing in the parcels, what we plan to do is this fall, we will send letters out to the homeowners and then asking you to call and schedule appointments with us. And then we'll come out, we'll collect the data for your property to make sure that data is listed accurately for you. Yeah, and we're just going to do a brief summary, so that's kind of what I have to say. I have some handouts in the back, both in English, and Carla translated it for you also. Assessing is not an easy topic, so I think Carla did a wonderful job of translating that.
La señorita de sesión dice que seguimos las mismas reglas que todo el estado cuando viene siendo las asociaciones de propiedades. Con los terrenos nuevos entrando a la ciudad, se va a tener que hacer una nueva sesión este año en otoño. Cuando venga otoño les van a llegar cartas que les van a decir que tienen que hablar para hacer una cita con nosotros para que podamos venir a visitar y a accesar a sus propiedades. Atrás la señorita también tiene el papelaje que se necesita, la información, la tenemos en inglés y en español para que se la puedan llevar para su casa.
Whoops, I'm sorry. So we also have a municipal court. I would hope that nobody in this room ever needs to utilize the services of municipal court, but if you do, the number is listed there at 270-4224, and you can call and talk with our municipal court clerk, James Gray.
También tenemos una corte municipal y ojalá nunca tenga que tomar, que usar la corte con nosotros. El teléfono de ellos es 608-270-4224. El director de ese departamento se llama James y le da mucho gusto también ayudarles.
So I'm John Crook. I'm the building inspector for the city of Fitchburg. So really the two things that you guys will be concerned of, if you remodel, do anything, talk to us first because you'll probably need a building permit. And the second thing is for all your tenants and renters out there, landlords, we do have a pretty strong property maintenance code. So we like to keep things nice and neat. So we get involved in that pretty heavily. So that's the two things that really, as far as building inspection, you guys will probably see a little bit of a change compared to what the town had.
Él es el inspector John. Él se encarga de hacer las inspecciones de propiedades, especialmente cuando se hace algo nuevo en la propiedad, como decir que ponen cuarto nuevo, cualquier cosa de ese estilo. Él tiene que venir a visitar sus propiedades para darles que está bien el cambio. Pretty much building inspection, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
That's
Thank you.
Can you go
Yes.
with the tenant information?
Oh, sure. También para la información de los que rentan los... there's a word for it and I can't remember it.
You can go online and get the landlord tag code.
Yeah. Para los que, no los que rentan, los dueños de casa que rentan. Tenemos reglas muy estrictas cuando se viene a esa información que piden mucha información que necesitan con los de inspección. Ellos vienen a visitar sus casas para asegurarse que todo esté bien a código. Yes, stumped me.
Hi there, everybody. I am Tracy Oldenburg. I'm the city clerk for the city of Fitchburg. If you call the city or come into the city hall, we will be probably the first point of contact that you'll deal with. Our department deals a lot with pet licensing. We also do event licensing for any sound permits, street use, block parties you're going to have. You'll work with us on that. And we also deal with alcohol licensing for businesses in the town and the city of Fitchburg. And we are also responsible for all things election related. You will have an election here with the town yet for August. In November, you will become part of the city of Fitchburg, and we will work together to let you know where your polling location will be when that absorption comes to fruition. We'll send out postcards. You can use the MyVote website, which we have listed on the slide here, to find out where your polling location is. If you're already registered in the town of Madison, you don't plan on moving or changing your name, there's nothing you need to do. You'll still be registered when you come to the city of Fitchburg. Same with any absentee ballot requests. If you have one of those on file for the November election with the town of Madison, you will also have that with the city of Fitchburg. There's nothing you will need to do. Okay? I do have some information back on the table. If you want to come see me after the presentation, that'd be great. Sorry, but you know all this, right?
I know all this. Este es mi departamento, so yo sí sé todo esto. Ella es la secretaria municipal de la ciudad. Con el departamento de nosotros hacemos la licencia de los perros, los gatos. Si necesitan una licencia porque van a tener fiesta o vamos a decir que van a tener alcohol en la fiesta, eso todo pasa por el departamento de nosotros. También nosotros nos encargamos de cuando es tiempo para votar. Cuando se vuelvan a la ciudad de Fitchburg, de la ciudad de Madison, o pueblo de Madison, perdón, no tienen que hacer nada, solamente la información se mueve completamente para nosotros y nosotros ya tenemos esa información. Si están registrados para votar, No ha cambiado nada, no necesitan que cambiar nada. Todo viene derecho con nosotros. Si necesitan que hacer cambios, la página de Tener My Vote es donde pueden ir a hacer sus cambios y inmediatamente nos la mandan a nosotros. Yeah, there you go. I knew that one. I'm good at that one.
Good evening, everybody. It's great to see such a nice turnout here. I'm probably one of the few department heads that was around when the agreement was signed. I didn't think I'd be here to see the actual fruition of it. So we're excited to welcome you to Fitchburg, both the residents and the businesses, and look forward to working with you. I'm the Economic Development Director, Mike Zimmerman, and my colleague in the back there is Joyce Fry. We're the Economic Development Team. We staff the Community and Economic Development Authority, which focuses on economic development, housing, redevelopment, infill development, and we also administer the hotel room tax dollars as well as the marketing department for the city. So we're excited to have you here. We've got some cookies out front for you with our logo on to help you get kind of acclimated to the Fitchburg brand, and we're happy to take any questions related to those topics. Stop by and see us and say hello. Welcome.
Bienvenidos. Él es el director del departamento. I don't know how to say that in Spanish. De Economic Development. Él se encarga de los. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. De las taxas de los hoteles, traerse nuevos negocios a la ciudad, asegurarse que hay casas suficientes para la gente. Ese es el departamento que ellos se encargan. Afuera trajeron ellos el departamento de las galletas que están disponibles para todos. También está la señorita Joyce, que es del mismo departamento que él, está asociada ahí atrás. Si alguna tiene una pregunta, cualquier cosa que tengan, ellos están disponibles para contestarlos.
Hello, my name is Joe Pulvermacher, roughly translated Pulvermacher. I'm your fire chief. I'm also the emergency management director. Emergency management is a matter of being able to identify readiness, response, and recovery for natural and man-made disasters.
Yeah, I can translate that.
Okay, and then just to let you know, I'll have a little bit more with the fire department, but what we will be able to address is some of those things that happen on an emergency basis.
Él es el director de bomberos y de emergencia, se llama Joe Pulvermacher, traducido Pulvermacher. Él está encargado de todo lo que viene siendo cualquier emergencia que pase en la ciudad. Tiene más informaciones para ustedes si gustan atrás y va a hablar más sobre qué cosas tienen que hacer en caso de una emergencia. Él va a ser su primer contacto cuando pase algo. Nick.
The fire department, roughly translated bomberos.
There you go. Yeah, that's correct.
We respond out of 3 stations, 2 of which are operational. We have 15 full-time firefighters. The rest are supported. Our emergency staff is supported with a paid-on-premises, paid-on-call department.
Tienen 3 casas de bomberos en la ciudad en este momento. 15 bomberos son que trabajan full-time, que todo el tiempo están disponibles, y los demás son voluntarios o que trabajan en momentos de cada vez que vienen les pagan por caso de emergencia.
So we have 3 stations. Station 1 is administrative, Station 2 is an operational station, and Station 3 is the one that serves this area that was built with the town of Madison in mind. So it gives us a better opportunity to have appropriate and well thought out response times that give us the ability to protect this area a little bit better than what we had before with the previous stations.
Tenemos las.
Station 3, where's that located?
Yeah, so Station 3 is located on Sain Road in McCoy. So actually we can address the response right off of McCoy to Rimrock.
Okay.
Yep.
Tenemos 3 estaciones de bomberos. La primera es para administración, la segunda está fuera de su área y la tercera viene siendo la que les va a servir a ustedes. Está en Sain y McCoy, en la esquina está. Esa estación fue hecha pensando en que la ciudad se iba a absorber con nosotros de la ciudad de Fitchburg, su pueblo, no ciudad.
Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We're always open.
Cualquier pregunta que tengan, él está disponible cuando quieran.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Anderson. I'm following the fire chief here. So I'm the director of the ambulance service that covers Fitchburg. So we're actually, though we're in the same buildings, we are your closest ambulance, again, as it says up there. I think I actually put the address down there, is on South Sain Road. We have an ambulance there, but the ambulance service is actually a district that works in conglomeration with the city of Verona and the Verona Township. So we have 3 ambulances that are spread out much farther than that. Again, the closest one being on Sain. Our second one also being in the Fitchburg Fire Station off of Marketplace. We have a third one down in Verona. And then they move and respond to calls as they're needed. My takeaway to you is the big red letters up there that says nothing really changes for you to get an ambulance. Pick up the phone and call 911. Somebody will come. That's where it is. I do like to make you aware, if you call 911, and that's the number we tell you to call, that 911 dispatcher has the big picture of where every emergency vehicle is in the county. So if based on what you tell them, if you need an ambulance quicker than I can get you one from Verona, because that is a long way to come, that 911 center will send you the closest ambulance, be it coming from Madison or Monona. But my takeaway is just continue to call 911. Somebody will come.
You have a Spanish person at that moment, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. Well, add that to there. Él es el director Anderson de las ambulancias. So, en caso de que ustedes necesiten ambulancias, él es el director de ese departamento. Al cambiar a la ciudad de Fitchburg no va a cambiar nada. Las ambulancias todavía van a venir si marcan 911. Al marcar 911 también tenemos a alguien en español, que habla español para poder traducirles a ustedes o sigan el mismo caso si pasa cualquier emergencia. Es importante de que marquen al 911. Están disponibles 24 horas al día, 7 días a la semana.
So I am Misty Dodge. I'm the finance director for the city. And also with me is Robert Cornelius, who's in charge of the utility billing. So we thought the 2 things you would want to hear about from us would be utility bills and property tax bills. So for utility bills, your water bill is going to stay the exact same. So currently you're getting a monthly water bill from the city of Madison, and that will continue. For the sewer and stormwater bill, that with the town of Madison is listed as a special charge on your property tax bill. For Fitchburg, we do quarterly bills instead.
Ella es la directora del Departamento de Finanzas. El equipo de ellas están encargados a lo que viene siendo los biles del agua, los biles de sewer. Sorry. Del agua corriente de lluvia. Es la palabra que buscaba, perdónenme. El agua de lluvia. Los biles de su agua van a seguir igual que están ahora. Van a venirse de la ciudad de Madison. Adicional, lo que viene siendo que sí va a cambiar va a ser el stormwater, que viene siendo lo de la lluvia. Eso lo cobra la ciudad de Fitchburg. Eso se cobra cada 4 meses y es cuando les va a llegar el bill. Ahorita se los están cobrando en sus taxas de propiedad, pero eso va a cambiar ya a ser el cambio a la ciudad de Fitchburg.
And then for property tax bills, the process will be very similar to what you used to for Town of Madison. I know a burning question is going to be what your property tax bill will be, and I unfortunately don't have enough information to calculate those at this point, but the process will end up staying the same. And then for both, we have the traditional payment method, so online, in person, by mail, and we have a 24-hour drop box at City Hall where you could make your payments. And then a plug for the budget process. If you are interested in how the city spends its money and how much it collects from property taxes, the way to get involved in that is through the budget process. We have 2 public hearings each year. We hope that if you're interested, you would come out and share with the council what you think the priorities should be.
La segunda parte que le gustaría cubrir es lo de las taxas. Las taxas van a seguir igual como les están llegando ahora. Van a pagar igualmente, solamente que ahora van a pagar con la ciudad de Fitchburg. Tienen 3 diferentes maneras de cómo pueden pagar. Pueden pagar por correo, por mandándolos en la carta, por internet, o también tenemos una caja de 24 horas donde pueden ir a dejar en City Hall. Pueden ir a dejar su pago ahí. Está abierto 24 horas al día. I didn't do public hearing.
That's fine. You're doing awesome.
Thank you.
Excuse me. So Jeremy Crosby is our Fitchburg Access Community Television, or FACT, director. He was ill today, so he was unable to be with us. But FACT is our local cable access channel. Well, it used to be cable, now it's really just television access channel. They're responsible for helping us put on events like this. A couple of our team members are in the back with the cameras and the soundboards. They're also managing our folks that are joining us via Zoom. They do a fantastic job of broadcasting city meetings and other city events and coordinating all of the interaction that we have with our residents during those hybrid meetings as well.
También tenemos un canal de televisión que se llama Fact TV. Ellos son los que están responsables para darnos, como el evento ellos son los que lo están poniendo en la tele. No necesitan cable para ver este canal. Jerry Crosby es el director de este departamento, pero desafortunadamente ahorita está enfermo y no pudo venir, so no está disponible para contestar preguntas. También ahí es donde pueden ver las juntas de la ciudad, cualquier evento que vaya a tener la ciudad o cosa que estemos promocionando, ahí es donde van a encontrar esa información. También por la página de internet si están interesados. Ahí son todos donde pueden encontrar el canal, por Roku, por Fire TV, por Apple TV. El canal está disponible también por internet, en nuestra página de internet.
Apparently I threw a second slide up there on me.
For anybody who wants to know in English, this is the place where you can find our channels, TV, Apple TV, Fire TV, Roku TV, or even on our website. It's accessible for everyone.
Well done.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Wendy. I'm from the library, Biblioteca.
Yeah, there you go.
We have over 100,000 items for you to check out. We've got books, movies, Kindles, Rokus. We all have all kinds of stuff. The most important thing you probably want to know today is your library card that you have will work. You don't have to get a new one. If you want a new one, we can give you one. We are very proud to be a fine-free library, so we're not going to charge you if you're a few days late returning your items. We have lots of programs. I have a program calendar for May back at the table if you'd like to pick that up before you go tonight. We have computers, study rooms, meeting rooms, free Wi-Fi, all kinds of stuff.
Ella es Wendy, la directora de la biblioteca de la ciudad de Fitchburg. La cosa buena que es que al volverse parte de la ciudad de Fitchburg no tienen que agarrar carta de biblioteca nueva. La carta que tienen ahorita ya funciona con ellos. Tienen más de 100,000 diferentes artículos que pueden rentar o de aprovecharse si gustan. Tienen computadoras, internet gratis, cuartos para estudiar y cualquier pregunta que tengan con ella pueden. Atrás tiene también el calendario de diferentes eventos que van a estar pasando en el mes de mayo.
And exciting, we're going to start outreach services again this summer, and we will be coming to Southdale Park. So come see us, watch for our van. We'll be doing like pop-ups in the park. Dates are not set yet, but we're getting there.
También van a hacer servicios a la ciudad al pueblo de Madison, perdónenme, donde van a estar disponibles aquí en persona en diferentes lugares en el parque. So si ven el van, quiere decir que ahí van a estar.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Olson. I'm the Human Resources Manager. It's great to see all of you here. If you're looking for any employment opportunities or anyone you know, please visit our website. I've got flyers in the back. We just posted a police officer position starting at $63,000. We'll send you to the police academy, so please spread the word. So there is a variety of different departments you can work for, so please come talk to me after this.
Hola, ella es Sarah Olsen, la directora de Recursos Humanos. Ahorita estamos ofreciendo muchas oportunidades para trabajar. También tenemos una posición que se acaba de abrir para policía. Si están interesados, paga $63,000 al año y nosotros lo mandamos a la Academia de Policía. Si tienen interés en trabajar con la ciudad, tenemos muchos otros departamentos también que están buscando personas ahorita. Ella está atrás disponible para cualquier pregunta que tengan. You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deanna. I'm the city planner. As you can probably see up here, we take a look at zoning. The zoning that the town of Madison currently has is not likely to change very much, but we will be taking a look at zoning districts and make sure that everything corresponds to the city of Fitchburg's zoning districts. If there's any questions, don't hesitate to reach out and ask me. Some of the other things that you might be interested in are setbacks, setbacks for decks or fences, and if you have any questions about home-based businesses, we're here to help you sort out those things too. Feel free to reach out to us. I have a stack of my cards back at the table, and we'll try to answer all of your questions.
Bueno, ella es la señorita Diana, ella es la directora del Departamento de Zonas y Distritos. Ella está disponible con la ciudad, claramente. Ella también atrás tiene sus cartas por si gustan contactarla. Ella está encargada de zonas o si van a poner un deck. I'm drawing a blank.
I'm sorry I tripped you up.
You did, no, it's okay, it's not your fault. Si van a poner una fence, una cerca, gracias, miss. Una cerca o van a hacer construcción o si gustan tener un negocio en casa, con ella es la que tienen que hablar y agarrar ese permiso primero o ella les puede decir qué es lo que necesitan que hacer para poder procesar. There you go. Thank you very much. I know the word.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Scott. I'm the Park, Rec, and Forestry Director. And actually, this slide talks about parks and forestry, and certainly what that involves is all the different park shelters within the community. We also maintain and upkeep all of the parks and build new parks, actually. The forestry end of our division is the maintenance and care of all the trees within the public space and between the sidewalk and the curb within the street right away. And I would be remiss if I didn't introduce Patrick Cheney. He's one of our Park Commission members. He's right here, so you could stand up if you wanted to, Patrick. He's on the Park, Rec, and Forestry Commission. So you could certainly call Patrick with any of those concerns. He'll be sure to share them with me, that's for sure. Okay, then I think the next slide, or maybe
Gotcha.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
So recreation, we also do all the recreational programming within the community. We do have a splash pad, which is really a popular place during the summer. We do have a Fitchburg Community Center with rentable spaces for events and gatherings, and certainly the park shelters are available for rental and use also. Yeah, and we've got a lot of information back at the table in the card, one of my cards, so fun and games. We work so you can play. That's our motto. So. Yay, there you go. Parks rule and everyone else drools.
Él es Scott Endo, el director de parques y de árbol. Me voy a dar para atrás para que me dé la información yo misma. Él también está encargado de si gustan rentar un parque o cualquier cosa que pertenece a un parque. También ellos son los que se encargan todos los árboles de la ciudad, se aseguran que no se esté cayendo nada, que no haga falta nada con los árboles. Si tienen alguna pregunta sobre un árbol, él es el departamento que necesitan que contactar.
What's the Spanish word for drool?
Baba. Well, at least that's my Spanish word for it. It's the correct word in my version of Spanish. También ellos se encargan mucho de los programas de verano para los niños. So, si están interesados en que sus hijos tomen algún curso con la ciudad, con él es el que se contactan. También tenemos un juego de agua, un lugar donde pueden los niños ir a jugar en el agua. Se encuentra en el parque McKee. The splash pad is in McKee Parks. Sí. So, si gustan llevar a los niños, eso está disponible para ustedes también, completamente gratis.
Hello, everyone. I'm Al Morales from the Fitchburg Police Department. Buenas tardes, el jefe de policía.
Gracias, thank you.
El jefe de policía de la ciudad de Fitchburg. Bienvenidos para todos. Welcome everyone. Let's see where our mission. La misión del departamento de Fitchburg es servir con respeto. Queremos en la visión, queremos ganar su confianza y hacer compañeros con ustedes para seguir una comunidad en paz, que vivamos con respeto y vivamos seguros. So our vision and our mission, or our mission and our vision, is to serve and respect. Our vision is a trusted, impartial partnership in pursuit of a peaceful community where all members feel safe and respected. Los valores es servicio, trabajar en equipo, responsabilidad y respeto. Our values are service, teamwork, accountability, and respect. Personnel. We have 54 total sworn, 4 command staff, 8 sergeants, 5 detectives, 37 police officers. We have 12 professional staff, 4 dispatchers full-time, 2 community service officers, 5 record staff, 1 court liaison, 1 shared data analyst, 1 part-time social worker. De personaje en el departamento de policía somos 54, un jefe de policía, un diputado, 2 tenientes, tenemos 8 sargentos, 5 detectives y 37 oficiales para civiles. De civiles tenemos 12 trabajadores profesionales, 4 que despachan, 2 que trabajan en los servicios de comunidad, 5 registradores y tenemos un analista y una trabajadora social que trabaja mitad de tiempo. For policing, we are a community-oriented. We take a community-oriented approach that emphasizes partnerships with businesses, apartment complexes, and neighborhood associations. La estrategia que tomamos es trabajar y enfocarnos con la comunidad, los negocios, apartamentos y los vecindarios para hacerlo como compañeros. 2 neighborhood police officers for the first 6 months, the East and the West, will begin their new role over the next 6 months. Para comenzar, los primeros 6 meses, vamos a asignar 2 oficiales para que trabajen con ustedes y empiecen a conocer la área, siéndose el pueblo de Madison, cambiando a la ciudad de Fitchburg. Si se quiere comunicar con nosotros, next slide.
Oh, the clicker's right.
Oh, clicker here.
Right now.
Right now. Okay.
Oh, down maybe?
Down. Ya lo quebré. I broke it.
You say it was working up until you cheated.
Right?
Magic.
There we go.
There it is.
If you want to connect, I am Chief Al Morales. Non-emergency number is, you have it listed up there, and we're located in the lower level of City Hall, 5520 Lacey Road. Para comunicarse con nosotros, ya saben, aquí está su jefe de policía, Alfonso Morales. Estamos locados bajo de la municipalidad de la 5520 Lacey Road. Los servicios que pueden tomar allí es tomar huellas y también dejar cualquier farmacéuticos que ya no usan, dejarlos allí en vez de tenerlos en la casa donde un pequeño lo puede tomar y hacer algo mal con ellos. So services that we offer at the department is fingerprinting and med drop, and we also have a med drop box there. En el sitio del web de Fitchburg pueden encontrarse a varios servicios que están allí por la computadora. Uno es, pueden ver el mapa de la ciudad de Fitchburg, las llamadas que toman los oficiales, pueden tomar datos del crimen que pasa en la ciudad de Fitchburg y también el tránsito. También pueden someter sus quejas o complementos de los servicios de la policía. Pueden también someter una petición requiriendo sus reportes si toman un reporte con la policía. Pueden también evaluar los reportes anuales y hay muchos más medios de comunicación social que se pueden ver por esa página. Our website in the city of Fitchburg, for the city of Fitchburg, there are several resources that you can seek. One would be View and Police Call for Service Map. You can also look for Transit Data Dashboard. Submit requests for tracker concern. That is, if you have a concern or a complaint on our services, or if you also want to complement the services of our law enforcement group. You can also request copies of police reports, review annual reports, and learn more about the department. And there's also other department links on social media. ¿Algo otra pregunta? Aquí estamos para servirles al final de esta presentación. If you have any other questions for us, you're welcome to approach us and ask those questions at the completion of this presentation. Thank you all very much. Muchas gracias.
Slow down for me, please.
What's that?
Slow down for me, please.
Okay. Slowing down for everyone. Public Works is, our department takes care of the streets, the utilities, and things like that. So essentially, we have long-range capital projects where we're reconstructing streets, new streets, doing resurfacing. And then we do some maintenance activities as well. So we're doing chip sealing and crack filling and making sure those streets and things are maintained. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do up there for engineering. We do a lot for the community, and we welcome the town of Madison area to our community, and have been looking in earnest about how we're going to be maintaining your roads going into the future. We do take care of the street sweeping and the stormwater things as well, so you'll see our street sweepers out there sweeping the streets. So if we should be out there at least once a month. But if you do, have concerns that things aren't getting picked up as quick, you can always pick up the phone and give our department a call, and we're very responsive to those needs. Refuse and recycling, for the most part, I think that things are not going to be changing for apartments, but the single-family residents, we do pick up weekly refuse and bi-weekly recycling, so every other week we pick up the recycling. As well, we offer a drop-off center at 2373 Fish Hatchery Road that you can bring your cardboard boxes. We have dumpsters for those. Scrap metal, we have a dumpster for that, as well as for styrofoam. I think styrofoam? Yes, styrofoam. Yes, those are the three. We have compost available there if you do some gardening, as well as you could bring any leaves and things like that over there too. So.
Él es el director de Public Works, Bill Balke. Él está encargado de los ingenieros de construcción, de la basura, de cuando recogen lo de la yarda. Él es el departamento que estamos buscando. También ellos están disponibles porque es el departamento que se encarga de las carreteras. So, una vez al mes van a ver que van a venir los camiones que limpian las carreteras y van a pasar. Si ustedes tienen algún problema, que ven que las carreteras no se están manteniendo o que hay basura tirada o cualquier cosa, pueden llamar al departamento de ellos también. También tenemos un lugar de recycling donde pueden llevar su styrofoam. That's a good word. En lo que viene en el empaque de los paquetes que llegan por correo, como de hielo. No sé si alguien sabe la palabra. ¿No? ¿Nadie? Ok, bueno, pues ya saben lo que digo. Como si compran un cooler y echan la cerveza o las sodas o cualquier cosa y se deshace. ¿No? Corcho. La palabra es corcho. Corcho. I've never used that word. Thank you. Tienen donde pueden llevarlo para disponerse de ellos con seguridad, ¿verdad? Que no se vaya a la basura donde se puede volver a usar para otra cosa. También si tienen cosas como de metal, ahí lo pueden llevar a que se vuelva a usar. Good?
Good.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Oh, whoops.
We talked
Go back. No, we're good. Okay, you're good.
Hi everybody, I'm Mandy and I work for the Senior Center. So, I have a question before I start. How many of you are super excited to be joining the city of Fitchburg. Yay! Front row. I knew the front row was going to be on it. Yes.
Someday we'll be old enough to go to that.
You might be. You might very well be. So our goal at the Senior Center is to keep people independent in their homes for as long as possible. So we want to keep everybody, older adults, in their homes, living independently, and we do that by offering services. And the services that we offer, we couldn't do it without our volunteers. We have about 200 volunteers, and they are out in the community delivering Meals on Wheels, working in the kitchen to get those meals out to our more frail seniors. They are taking people to and from doctor appointments, all sorts of things. So even if you're not old enough to come, front row, if you're not old enough to come, you could come and volunteer too. It sincerely is the heart of Fitchburg. It is the place to be. That's what we coin it, is the place to be. So just come on over and see us. We're really happy to be welcoming you to the city of Fitchburg, and hope to see some new faces. And yeah, if you have any questions, we've got flyers in the back. My colleague Susie, raise your hand in the back. Susie also works at the Senior Center, so you'll likely, if you call, you'll talk to her. You'll see her first thing when you walk in the door. So we've got flyers, we've got newsletters, we've got a show on Fact TV that you could see us on. So join us at the Senior Center. We'd love to have you.
Ella es Mandy Miller, la directora de la zona de ancianos. Es un lugar donde los ancianos pueden ir a divertirse. El departamento de ellos está encargado de asegurarse que los ancianos puedan vivir independientemente en sus propias casas sin tener que salirse de sus lugares donde están cómodos ellos. Él también en el departamento hay más de 200 voluntarios que vienen a ayudar a hacer comida, llevarle comida a la gente, llevarlos a las oficinas de doctores, cualquier cosa que necesiten. No tienen que ser ancianos para venir a visitar, pueden venir a visitar cualquier persona. También se pueden ser voluntarios con nosotros si gustan. Pretty much summed up.
No problem. All right.
So we do have some frequently asked questions that have already been presented to the city on a regular basis, and some of those you can see up here. One of the main ones is, will school boundaries change? No, they will not. How about your address? Will it change? No, we don't have any reason to believe it will. And you can see the other questions that we have listed there as well. We have all of the frequently asked questions out on our website in a page where you can see those, as well as information about all of the city services that you just heard from all of our great department heads and other team members here at the city of Fitchburg. So I think we can probably, is it the right button?
That's the last one.
That's the last one. We can transition to the open question and answer portion of the presentation. I'll pause here.
Sure, thank you. Estas son preguntas que se preguntan más frecuentemente. ¿Van a cambiar las zonas escolares? No. ¿Va a cambiar mi dirección? No. ¿Va a cambiar mi lugar donde voy a votar? Tampoco. Todo sigue igualmente. La única cosa que sí puede que cambie va a ser hasta el año que entra, que van a hacer si van a necesitar una licencia nueva para su perro, para su gato, para alcohol, si tienen negocio. Eso es lo que cambia, pero no va a cambiar hasta el año 2023-2024. Ahora vamos a entrar a la zona donde pueden preguntar preguntas si tienen.
Does anyone want to start off with a question?
¿Alguna pregunta?
Go ahead.
Does this affect the bus routes or anything like that changing? Because like right over here, obviously, right over here, Maple Glen is a really great bus route.
So the question is, bus routes changing, and yes, bus routes are changing. Madison Metro is the transit provider that the city of Fitchburg contracts with. I'll pause here.
La pregunta fue, ¿van a cambiar las líneas de los buses? La respuesta es sí. Con la ciudad de Madison es la que tenemos contrato nosotros para que usemos los buses. O cuando ustedes se unan a nosotros, sí van a cambiar los buses.
And they're currently in the process of updating their routes, as you may have seen in some of the news media and some of the public information meetings they've been having. We recently had a presentation actually last evening at the city council level here in Fitchburg.
Ahorita en este momento la ciudad de Madison está pasando por el proceso de poner líneas nuevas de los buses. Puede que hayan visto la información por internet o por las noticias, pero esta es una decisión que hace la ciudad de Madison. Nosotros acabamos de tener una junta sobre eso para ver cómo nos va a afectar a nosotros.
That presentation shared some of the proposed route changes from Metro, which does, as we also learned today, does affect the Southdale neighborhood, and I see it actually pushes the transit stop to Moreland Road and Rimrock Road, if I'm reading the proposed changes correctly.
Sí vemos que va a cambiar la ruta de bus en Southdale, Del Sur. No sé si sepan cuál es la colonia esa. Sí se va a mover esa línea de buses. Los mapas de los buses nuevos sí los tenemos disponibles por internet también si gustan. Es nada más de preguntarnos si nosotros podemos ayudarles.
And we learned today about that change in more significance. We were out doing some conversation at the food pantry in the neighborhood, and we had some additional conversation with our city engineering department, who is leading the liaison work with Madison Metro, and they're actually going to talk to them about an amendment to that route. There is an amendment process that Metro is using on the proposed routes for them to consider further modifications to those routes. So that is an amendment that we will be submitting for their consideration to see if they can keep the bus stop closer within the Southdale neighborhood versus moving it to Moreland. So we'll see where that shakes out.
En este momento también tenemos al equipo de ingeniería de nosotros que está tratando de están hablando con la ciudad de Madison para asegurarse que donde está el autobús ahorita para ustedes que se quede en la misma área para que no tengan que hacer mucho cambio. Todavía estamos en plática, eso no está en que se va a quedar en esa manera o que van a aceptar lo que les estamos mandando nosotros, pero es una proposición.
I would encourage anyone that wants to share any feedback about the routes to utilize the resources that Madison Metro has offered to put that feedback in. The more folks that they hear from, the more likely there could be a possibility of further modifications.
I've been a property owner in this area for about 30 years, and this is a real concern for me and for the residents that we have down here. I know the area, I know how much we rely on transit, and I'd like to have the folks of Fitchburg go to bat for us here. I mean, we really need to have that route where it is, and we need to have folks step up on your end, and I would implore you on our behalf to put your best foot forward. We will try to do the same, but we need some help here. And we need a bus service.
Understood, and as we can do, we can work in partnership. Obviously, if all of our residents and future residents submit their feedback on the proposed routes to Madison Metro. As I mentioned, I've already talked directly with our city engineer who is liaisoning with our feedback, and they will be advocating for a route change, route modification to push that bus stop farther into Southdale from Moreland. So,
thank you.
You bet. He was basically wanted the city to partner to try to help change.
El señor estaba pidiendo que por favor los de la ciudad podamos ayudarles a que se mantenga la ruta de bus por la área donde estamos, donde están ustedes, perdónenme. Y es lo que vamos a hacer, vamos a tratar de que la ruta no se mueva demasiado o que se quede más cerca a ustedes, porque ustedes dependen mucho en el autobús, bueno, la comunidad depende mucho en ese autobús. Lo que le pedimos a ustedes es que si ustedes tienen el tiempo o gustarían, pueden ir a la página de internet de Madison Metro y ahí pueden poner sus quejas y pueden pedirles o darles sus opiniones que la ruta de bus quede donde esté. Eso, sus quejas y sus opiniones nos ayudan a nosotros cuando nuestro ingeniero vaya y pida que la ruta quede donde esté.
And finally, on the topic of the Metro, at least in this part, Bill Balke, who you saw from our Public Works Department, if you want to share any specific feedback with him after the general question and answer session, I would encourage you to do so, and he could probably also share the city engineer's contact information who's taking the lead on this. So.
De nuevo, sure. De nuevo, está el señor Bill Balke atrás, que es el que está encargado del Departamento de Public Works, que es el que puede ayudarles en ponerlos en contacto con el ingeniero que está haciendo el proceso de los autobuses con nosotros. So, él tiene su información ahí atrás. Si gustan, necesitan algún traductor. Les prometo que no soy así tan mal. Nada más que es la primera vez que he visto este presentaje, so no sabía qué es lo que venía a traducir. Perdónenme, de verdad. Gracias, gracias.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you want to move on from the bus, but I just need to say it's vital for kids getting to school and for people getting to work and people to get groceries because we're a food desert. So we really need that. And it would be great to see the city of Fitchburg put money into it so that Madison would stop in the neighborhood.
Here. Understood. Thank you for sharing all the feedback on the bus routes. And we can have further conversation about that after the open session here if we'd like. So.
La señorita dice que le gustaría que pusiéramos el esfuerzo nosotros para que se quede en la línea de autobuses aquí, porque ustedes dependen para ir a la escuela, para ir a trabajar, para ir a comprar mandado o regresar a sus propias casas. Y nosotros les prometemos que vamos a hacer lo que podemos para ayudarles a ustedes. ¿Ah? Sí.
Tenemos el alcalde de Fitchburg, ya somos parte de Fitchburg, está todo muy bien, está todo, tenemos el apoyo de la policía, tenemos el apoyo de todos, estamos con el propietario donde vivimos, dependemos del bus para ir al trabajo, para trabajar, para nuestros hijos, casi de toda nuestra vida aquí.
Es con el autobús.
Dependemos del autobús, hasta para ir a traer la comida.
Sí.
Entonces, si tenemos al alcalde aquí, tenemos su apoyo, ¿sí? Tenemos el apoyo de la policía, tenemos el apoyo de todos los que están construyendo todo esto. ¿Por qué no hacer una carta en este momento y firmamos todos los que estamos y se la mandamos también a los ingenieros para que vean que realmente necesitamos eso y que no lo muevan, que traten de no moverlo?
Sí. Sorry, es que se me fue el alcalde. No estaba viendo que se me fue. So they're asking, do we have the support of the police department and the mayor and our alders to, write a letter and have everybody here sign them, letting Madison Metro know that this entire community is highly dependent on the metro system, and as a city, put money and effort towards getting this bus system to stay as it is or even improve it, because they use it for school, they use it for food, they use it for work. They're highly dependent on this.
And to do a letter right now
but
here so that people here can sign it.
Yes.
So I think we could probably do that. I think that it would be helpful if somebody, perhaps Bill, you could maybe take the lead on grabbing some sheets of paper and we could collect some signatures and certainly share that with the feedback that we're going to present on the route modifications that we're already requesting. And I will add that the city of Fitchburg spends, I think, just over $600,000 a year currently on Madison Metropolitan or Madison Metro transit service. So we obviously are well invested in the transit. We do recognize the value that it presents to all of our residents, and quite frankly, the significant need that some residents rely on transit. So we will certainly be sure to convey the feedback that you all have shared as it results to the current proposed routes. And I'm also seeing the Madison Mayor's Rep. Katie Crawley acknowledging all the feedback as well, and I'm sure that they will be happy to help assist in some of this as well and sharing some feedback.
I've shared the concerns with our Metro Director and our Transportation Director during this meeting, so they've got yet another heads up.
Excellent, thank you.
Sí.
Thanks, Kate.
Están disponibles a escribir la carta hoy y a que firmen todos los que están aquí para presentarlo cuando nos presentemos en frente de Madison Metro. Nosotros también investamos mucho dinero en este programa y sabemos que ustedes son dependientes de los voces. Si gustan, el señor Bill va a preparar atrás unas formas para que firmen y ahí es donde pueden firmar. Nosotros cuando sea la junta llevamos esa información en parte de ustedes. También la señorita que viene aquí a representar al alcalde del pueblo de Madison también se está comunicando con el departamento de ella que se encarga de los voces para que ellos también sepan que esto es algo que se preocupa mucho la gente de aquí, para que ellos también trabajen en eso al mismo tiempo que nosotros estamos trabajando.
Other questions?
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Yo también, bueno, es por lo mismo del VAS, sí. También estoy preocupada por eso y por eso mi hija también está aquí porque dice que a ella le perjudica, porque va a la escuela.
Está estresada.
Está estresada.
Está estresado.
They're here, and not only is she here for herself, but she's so dependent on the buses, but her daughter, who is, underage here, is dependent on it, and both her son as well is very anxious about, what are their transportation methods going to be for school.
Yeah, you have our commitment that we will certainly share the feedback and that we've learned tonight. And again, push with the ability that we have to seek an amendment to the routes that are currently proposed here.
Nosotros le damos nuestra palabra que vamos a hacer todo lo que podamos. Vamos a asegurarnos que pongamos para que se haga el cambio y que se quede como está la ruta. Pero lo más que les podemos dar ahorita es que vamos a hacer lo que podemos nosotros en nuestra parte de la ciudad.
And I think one thing that would be helpful as you interact with our Public Works Director is if you can identify the preferred stops that you'd like to see in the neighborhood so that we're not necessarily advocating for the route to be modified in such a way that may not be as beneficial as you all would see.
También les pedimos que por favor si se comunican mucho con el señor Bill Bucky, que es el de Public Works, porque él es el que quiere saber dónde quieren el bus ustedes, dónde quieren que quede la parada. Si no sabemos nosotros, como nosotros no somos ustedes, no somos los residentes de la colonia, ustedes díganos, sí.
Si ya somos parte de Fitchburg, ¿verdad?
Se cumplen ustedes, ya hacen parte de Fitchburg en octubre.
Ok, sí, pero el cambio ya está hecho.
Iniciando, sí.
Pero ¿por qué no lo dejan como está o se va a ampliar más?
Porque el bus, Madison Metro no es de nosotros. Nosotros pagamos para ese servicio como ciudad. El bus no es algo que es propiedad de nosotros. Nosotros le pagamos a la ciudad de Madison para que dé la ruta para acá. And she asked, as a city, as citizens of the city of Fitchburg now, why can't we just change the route or increase the route? Unfortunately, we don't own Madison Metro. We pay Madison Metro for the service. So all we can do is ask for that amendment to keep your bus stop where it is.
Es que sería...
No, diga.
Es que dijera yo, pusieran otro bus más, otra ruta más, pero sería más.
Sí. She's like, why would we not just add an additional route or modify the route that it is now to add an additional stop?
I'm not a transportation engineer that plans the routes. I'm sure there are a number of factors that go into them and whatever, to meet the goals and objectives that they set for the service. But what I can assure you is that we have heard the feedback loud and clear. We encourage you to talk with our Public Works Director. You can share your name. We'll certainly note to Madison Metro how many folks talked to us tonight and support further amendment to the proposed route. And again, if you can share where you would prefer to see that stop in Southdale with our Public Works Director, we can certainly use that information to share with Metro. So we again, as Carla said, we don't control the routes. We can only request the routes and see how that goes.
De nuevo, como él no es ingeniero de transportación, no podemos decir qué tan fácil es dar otro lugar donde pueda parar un bus o poner otro bus extra. Y como no somos dueños del programa de Madison Metro, de verdad no podemos dar cambio. Ahora, sí, por favor, sí le pedimos que hable con el señor Bill y que den su nombre, porque nosotros vamos a dar esa información para que la ruta quede igual o quede mejor, es lo que pedimos. Y así, usted, por lo menos, exacto. Sí, y si la podemos mejorar, pues la mejoramos, ¿verdad? Pero den su nombre al señor Bill, dígale lo que ustedes piensan, dónde piensan ustedes que les quedaría mejor la parada del bus, en dónde pueden subirse al bus mejor, y ya si él es el que va a dárselo al ingeniero que está encargado de las rutas de buses de la ciudad, y ya nosotros sabemos qué tenemos que cambiar, qué tenemos que hacer. Ya cuando pase la cita con Madison Metro, ya les podemos dar más informaciones a ustedes, pero si ustedes no nos ayudan y nos dan sus quejas y nos dicen en dónde quieren sus cosas, nosotros no podemos hacer nada. Y también, claro, por la página de internet, como les dijimos, ellos tienen donde pueden pedir ustedes el cambio o decirles no cambien mi ruta de voz, yo soy dependiente en esa ruta de voz, porque pues ellos no saben, si uno no dice algo, uno no sabe nada, ¿verdad?
Yo tengo una pregunta.
Sí.
¿Tiene que haber una cierta cantidad de firmas para que esto se quede en el mismo lugar?
Do they need a certain amount of signatures for the route to remain the same?
I don't think there's a set number that would be required. I think it's a matter of sharing the feedback, not only individually, as you can use the resources that Metro has offered community members to offer input, but then collectively, as you've heard from Katie from the Madison Mayor's office, she's already alerted Madison Metro of the concerns that have been presented here tonight, and we will certainly summarize the concerns that have been presented here tonight and share that communication on behalf of the City of Fitchburg and our request to further modify the proposed route. So we'll continue to lobby.
No hay un número cierto que se necesita, pero lo más que haya más quejas, más opiniones, lo más que su caso se va a ver bien contra el Madison Metro, que bien son los de los voces. Ya la señorita aquí del alcalde que viene representando al alcalde del pueblo de Madison está comunicándose ahí ahorita con los de Madison Metro, diciéndole lo que ustedes están diciendo, lo que está presentándose, que necesitan sus voces. Pero de nuevo, nosotros vamos a hacer lo que podemos hacer para ustedes. Por favor, pasen con el señor Bill, dennos su firma y den la palabra a cualquier otra persona diciéndoles que conozcan ustedes. Oye, comunícate porque nos van a quitar la ruta, y así ellos ya saben que también tiene tu opinión.
Gracias.
De nada.
So I did want to clarify something because I'm hearing two different things.
Yes.
You're stating that essentially pick a spot for one bus stop is kind of what I'm gathering what you're saying. That it's either going to be, the plan right now is for it to be put out towards Moreland, kind of not that far out.
Yes.
But if we wanted to stay here in the Southdale area, we need to pick one spot. So essentially, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stops, I believe, right now when you come down the road. The plan is for essentially to be down to 1, is that correct?
That's my understanding that right now the stop is proposed to be at Moreland and Rimrock. Now, I don't know how many stops that they're capable of. I don't know how much they'll be able to modify the route. But what I didn't want to do is lobby for Metro to move the stop within the neighborhood, and then they just arbitrarily pick a spot that may not be in line with what the neighborhood best felt would meet the overall neighborhood's needs. So could they potentially have more than one stop? Possibly. I don't know that. I'd hate to promise that they can. I can't even promise that they will move it. I can tell you that we will contact them and we will ask them to reconsider the proposed route to put at least one stop within Southdale. And but again, if there are particular stops that you would want them to focus on, please share that with us, with Bill, so that we can have that information and share that with Metro. And also, I would encourage you to reach out individually as well to share that.
The email, the email that you'll need will be the Metro, is it Metro?
Metro redesign at cityofmadison.com.
Yes, please send that emails to that address. They're the ones that are in charge of the Metro system. El email para la ciudad de Metro es Metro Redesign, y se lo podemos apuntar si gusta at cityofmadison.com. Ahí es donde pueden mandar un email diciéndole lo que gustan ustedes de su ruta de autobuses. Perdón que se me pasó lo que estaban platicando porque me distraí, pero...
Mi pregunta fue
There we go.
que a lo que
Thank
me
you.
está diciendo es que escojan solo una parada. Porque ahorita lo que están a lo que están llegando a la cambiada de las rutas de los autobuses es que solo va a haber una parada y va a estar en la parte del Morris. Que él no puede prometer que solo va a ser una parada, pero puede ser que solo sea una parada aquí en la parte de Southfield, que somos toda esta carretera que ahorita son como 5 o 6 y hay las casillas ahí en Pheasant Ridge. Que escojan por lo menos 1 o 2 paradas que quieren que se queden aquí, pero ahorita el plan es que la parada va a ser cambiada a Moreland, así que esencialmente pueden quitar todas las de aquí.
Exacto, gracias, muchas gracias. Pero sí, de nuevo, con el señor Bill para que den su información y lo que opinan ustedes y la página de internet. Sure.
I can also share that our city transportation director has reached out and he said, could we meet with them? So I will share his contact information with you.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I was going to say. Is there a way in which we can somehow follow up on this? This is really important to a lot of people. I'd hate to see the communication break down. And I was going to suggest somehow that there's another meeting like this. There's a lot more folks that would be here. People are home with their kids right now, and some of them have to walk to get here even. So we have an issue here.
I have to get here. I
I'm
can't
sorry?
afford to pay for a taxi cab to come from Deer Valley and Pleasant Ridge to go to Pick and Save and pay $15 for a cab to come back because I get SSI. I can barely pay my rent. And after medication, I've had so many surgeries, that's just out of the question. How in the hell could I walk from here to way over there? And I live way the hell over here. That doesn't make any damn sense to me. Especially like we knew people to come to you, come to us for something as well. Just don't leave us hanging, because that's not right.
So I do appreciate all the feedback that we've gotten on the Metro Transit route redesign. I think it's been very helpful for us to understand how serious and how important it is to all of you in this room. And again, we will certainly work closely with the mayor's office, with Metro, and our city engineering department to continue to see what we can do to modify the currently proposed route. So we'll look to try to set up another meeting specifically to discuss that. I know we had one, I think the last week of March in the neighborhood as well. If I recall correctly, I think it may have been at the Badger Rock facility. But apparently maybe the word didn't get out far enough on that one. So we can look to have another one and get some additional input, and also ideally have Madison Metro representatives present so they can hear firsthand from you all how serious you feel about the currently proposed route and what you need for future modifications. So anything else Metro Transit related? Go ahead, sir.
So yeah, I got a question. The one, like the bus stop, bus route 16, that's like on Deer Valley Road and Skeet, that's going to be changed too? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's my understanding. All of the proposed route changes have been placed on the Madison Metro
That's the
website.
main one I use, and I object to that.
Sure, I understand. And again, we'll take the feedback that we receive here tonight and have some conversations with Metro to see what changes they can make to the currently proposed routes.
El muchacho estaba preguntando si iba a cambiar la ruta de autobuses que usa él. En este momento sí van a cambiar todas las rutas. Sabemos que como dijo la muchacha de atrás, se van a cambiar a una o dos paradas. De nuevo, con el señor Bill, por favor, si tienen alguna opinión, alguna cosa que necesitan que decir, con eso el que tienen que hablar. El otro señor estaba preguntando por qué no podríamos tener una junta con el Madison Metro, con nosotros, con el pueblo de Madison, para saber si podemos hacer algún cambio con todos ustedes. La última cita que pasó en marzo, ya es pasada, pero vamos a ver si podemos hacer una cita de nuevo y que vengan representantes de todos los departamentos de ellos también y se presenten para que sepan qué es lo que piensan ustedes.
Just one more question. It's more on the financial side of it. You had mentioned that the city contributes $600,000. With a proposed change like this, when services are proposed to be taken away, does the Fitchburg cost go down to $550,000 or $500 because we no longer have service in our area? How do the economics work out? Because I can see some issues here where you have the city of Madison in charge of the metro, right now, and help me out here. I'm talking out loud. We have a city of Fitchburg here. Is there any issues there in terms of sharing, in terms of equity sharing of the services that we get as Fitchburg folks? Can you maybe shed some light on that piece of it?
So we actually have a contract with Madison Metro that is based loosely on the route miles and the route hours, i.e. frequency. So any modifications that are made to that, to the overall cost, are based upon those factors. So if there was a decrease in service, then we should be paying less as a city overall. But obviously, if there was an increase in service, then the city would be contributing more. Basically, we are paying Metro to provide transit service to the city of Fitchburg. If that answers your question.
Kind of does.
Okay.
You dipped at the edges.
Yeah.
I'm focusing more laser-like on our neighborhood here because it's that significant.
Right.
If it's $50,000 to do it, where does that money come from, and who's got the funds to be able to make that happen?
Right. So if hypothetically speaking, it was $50,000 or $100,000 for Madison Metro to modify their route, to change frequency or stop or number of stops, then that would be an increase in our contract as City of Fitchburg once the town was in Fitchburg.
That's helpful. Thank you.
El señor estaba preguntando si nosotros pagamos $600,000 para usar los autobuses de Madison Metro, entonces se va a bajar el precio al perder la ruta que tienen ahorita, y la respuesta es que sí se baja el precio porque el contrato que tenemos nosotros con Madison Metro es basado en cuántas millas y cuántas horas usan los buses. Pero, y él pregunta si se cuesta $50,000, $100,000, lo que sea que se cobre adicionalmente para que siga la ruta aquí en la ciudad, ¿de dónde viene ese dinero, verdad? Y ese dinero viene después de la gente, del pueblo, ¿verdad?
Sí, pagamos muchas taxas.
She says that their taxes are pretty high.
I can just add, Mick, there is a web, I just Googled here tonight, Madison Metro redesign, and if you pull that up, you can see a lot of information on this whole project and what its goals are and how far it is and things like that. But yeah, our city transportation director has said, can we meet? So I told him I would give the city administrator his contact information.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Y ella estaba diciendo que pueden ir a la página de internet Madison Metro Redesign, en donde dan mucha información sobre los mapas nuevos, de cómo están las rutas y todo eso. El director de transportaciones del pueblo de Madison tiene la información del administrador Chad aquí para que se comuniquen y tengan una junta para hablar de cómo pueden hacer que les afecte menos.
Additional questions?
¿Alguna pregunta más?
How do we find out, I imagine a lot more of these types of issues are going to shake out as we kind of learn more about the city. So where do we find out, like, either agenda items for council meetings that are coming up, or where some of these other processes that have obviously been going on for a while, like where all these protocols are? How do we get caught up? Is there a website where, like, we can kind of read through these items?
Yes, absolutely. We have all of our commission, committee, and council meeting agendas are posted online, including the packets, which have all the supporting information for each of the agenda items. And then the minutes are also posted after the meetings that summarize the meetings. And I talked about our FACT local access television station. All of our city meetings are broadcast live and then also recorded so that you can stream them at your convenience whenever it works best for you to also watch things as they've happened, so to speak, and hear exactly what was said and those sorts of things.
Estaba preguntando en dónde puede encontrar información sobre las juntas de la ciudad y las agendas de la ciudad. Eso todo se puede encontrar sobre la página de internet de nosotros. Ahí tenemos disponibles las juntas, los días de las juntas, las agendas, los minutos de la junta después de que pasó, los paquetes con toda la información de todo lo que estamos cubriendo en nuestras juntas. También está disponible por tele, por el Fact TV. El canal ese les ofrece para que vean la junta en vivo, o si no pueden verla en vivo porque a veces uno trabaja, lo pueden ver por internet por on demand. Se lo pone y usted puede ver lo que está sucediendo. Ahí también por la página de internet se puede registrar para, se llama Notify Me, en donde le mandamos un email diciéndole va a haber junta en cierto día, cierta hora, y ahí si usted necesita que presentarse se puede presentar.
There's also a page specifically about this annexation to Fitchburg, which has also information as well. So there's a specific page on our website as well.
También tenemos una página de internet dedicada a el pueblo de Madison haciéndose parte de la ciudad de Fitchburg, la anexación. Ahí también hay mucha información diferente, preguntas importantes que ustedes busquen o que gusten saber, pero como si no encuentran su respuesta, por favor llámenos y nosotros la podemos ayudar.
I have to say that the background page did not have a lot of reasoning behind it. I could not glean why this is happening. And so I can imagine that it sounds like this has been a long-term process. I just moved here, and so have not been able to be part of all of this happening. Can someone give me the short answer for what was this a financial decision to dissolve the town, or how'd this all go?
So about 20 years ago, the cities of Madison, the city of Fitchburg, and the town of Madison entered into a cooperative agreement that the town would dissolve. Obviously, over the years, the town has been enveloped by both the city of Madison on all sides, which is basically landlocked the town. It can be a bit more challenging for the town to provide a wide range of services. They certainly do provide a high level of services that they are able to provide, but ultimately at that time the leadership of the three communities felt that it would be in the best interest of all parties involved for the town to have a sunset, so to speak, which, as Mike Zimmerman, our Economic Development Director, mentioned, a lot of us didn't think that we would actually see this happen, but it has happened. So that is the general basis for it. The decision makers at that time felt that, again, that it would be best for all entities involved that the town would dissolve and be attached to the two cities.
But like the tax base got too small, or the best for everyone involved is a little bit less helpful?
I can't speak for what all of the thought process was. I wasn't part of the negotiations on all of this, so I can only speak to what I heard at the time. So there could be, a variety of factors, whether it was the town's ability to provide service, whether the town perhaps thought that better service could be provided to its residents through an attachment to the cities, whether the town felt that at some point in time the two cities would maybe annex, in a way that was not helpful to the town or was maybe antagonistic and maybe not to the benefit of the residents. And this allowed the town to have some measure of control on how long they existed and how they ultimately dissolved, so that there would be more certainty for the residents. Again, I wasn't part of the negotiations on that, so it's a bit of speculation, but I think that it's probably fairly close. But maybe Katie has more
I wasn't
information.
part of the negotiations either, but I was looking at our city website about this before I came to the meeting, and there is a section on the historical perspective of it. I didn't print that part out, but you can go to the city website and put in Town of Madison attachment, and there probably are some more details there because we've got a lot more city government involved.
There's a whole lot of stuff to see and said that isn't being
Yeah. Give me a second, guys.
Oh, sorry.
There's quite a lot that happened there, and I was like, how do I interrupt?
See me when this is over.
There you go.
There we go. There you go. Ella estaba preguntando por qué se va a deshacer el pueblo de Madison. La razón fue algo que se decidió hace 20 años o más. So, no tenemos exactamente los detalles nosotros, pero el pueblo de Madison, en la página de internet, ellos tienen la historia sobre por qué va a cambiar las cosas, o están cambiando las cosas así como básicamente lo que dijeron, pero en círculos, ¿verdad? Si están interesados en la razón por qué se está deshaciendo el pueblo, ahí pueden encontrar la información esa en la página de internet de ellos. Pero nosotros no estábamos empleados de la ciudad. El señor aquí, el oficial, también está disponible porque él sí estuvo aquí cuando se hizo la decisión de que se iba a deshacer el pueblo de Madison y se iba a ser parte de la ciudad de Madison y la ciudad de Fitchburg. I summed it up.
Excellent, thank you.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
I do have a question. So I know it says up there no school boundaries will change. Is that like, that's it, like nothing will ever change, or is there a possibility? Because I have a 5-year-old, his birthday's in February, so he won't have to go to school until like 23. Is it a choice to try to see what school, like in Fitchburg, to have enrolled? Is that a possibility, or what does that actually look like, since I guess we're in limbo?
So that's a great question. And Fitchburg does not have its own school district. We are serviced by 3 school districts, Verona, Oregon, and Madison, based upon where people live. So Southdale is within the Madison school district, so therefore the boundaries are not changing. If there were any sort of boundary change to take place in the future, it would not be the result of this attachment or absorption. It would be an entirely different process that would be undertaken by the school districts.
Estaba preguntando si van a cambiar las zonas de la escuela o si en el futuro van a cambiar. La respuesta es no sabemos, no le podemos decir que sí o no, porque nosotros no tenemos distrito de la ciudad de Fitchburg. Nosotros usamos el distrito de la ciudad de Oregon, de la ciudad de Verona y de la ciudad de Madison. Ustedes son de parte del distrito de Madison. Si esas líneas cambian en cualquier tiempo, nosotros no tenemos control sobre eso. Eso es algo que los distritos deciden.
Just something to consider around schools is that the kids who live in Southdale go all the way over to Frank Alice or Nuestro Mundo in Monona, and there's a beautiful new elementary school just down the road. So it's just to get familiar with the area, the school attendance, the schools that these kids attend are very far away from this neighborhood.
And are you referring to Forest Edge that's down the road, the elementary school, or a different one?
The brand new one on Emma.
Yeah, Forest Edge. Yep, that's in Oregon School District. Yep, absolutely.
Y estaba diciendo que los estudiantes de aquí de este distrito se van a las escuelas más lejos que la que tienen aquí nueva que les acaban de hacer. What was the name of the school?
Forest Edge.
Forest Edge Elementary School. La primaria esa pertenece al distrito de Oregon. So nosotros no podemos hacer el cambio de que manden a sus hijos a esta escuela más cerquitas porque ustedes pertenecen al distrito de Madison.
Other questions? Joyce?
I actually have a question for the residents out here. I was wondering if the Southdale Neighborhood Association is still together, and if so, do you have an email address? Because that was the best way that we used to communicate with some of the things that were going on Fitchburg-wise to the Southdale neighborhood. So if you do still have a neighborhood association and an email address, contact person, if you could share that with us, would be fantastic, because it worked really well. And if you don't, you might want to consider reconstituting that group.
I think you're right.
That was one of the questions actually that I was going to ask. There is, to my knowledge, there's no formal neighborhood association right now. There's been talk of what does Fitchburg do? Is that something that would work well with Fitchburg? So yeah.
It's really, really helpful, because that's the best way for us to get the word out to you, and you can share it with your group. So I would definitely just get a generic email address that that we could share information with.
That might be an interesting idea. I was going to add, again, I've been involved like Lori for many years here, and the dynamics here I can see are changing quite a bit because the town was much smaller. We had a wonderful relationship, and I wanted to acknowledge actually Chief Gregory here for all the service he's done for us for a long, long time. There's always been a connection, just kind of you can get a hold of him on the phone, he knows where we are, etc. So I think there was communication But I can see that that dynamic may be changing because it's kind of going from a little smaller footprint here. And it's pretty obvious to me that the footprint's really enlarged significantly. So that may be something we as a neighborhood want to really look at.
And we as a city would be happy to partner in your efforts to form a neighborhood association and with the city. We've had some long-standing partnerships with other neighborhood associations. An example of that is our Jamestown neighborhood, which is northwest of Verona Road and McKee Road, in that area. So, and there are others, obviously, but talk to some of our department heads. Our police and public safety in particular are always willing to engage with neighborhoods and form those relationships to talk about issues that are happening.
La pregunta que preguntaba la señorita Joyce era si tenían una neighborhood association o una asociación de colonia o de vecindario. Anteriormente sí tenían uno, pero ahora por lo visto que lo que comunican aquí ya no existe. So nosotros les pedimos que si gustan pueden hacer una asociación de vecinos y así comunicarse con la ciudad. De nuevo, el señor decía que van a haber muchos cambios, porque de pueblos chiquitos se van a unir a una ciudad más grande. Y haciéndose la asociación de vecinos, tienen una voz más grande para comunicarse con nosotros. Ya ustedes, si gustan, pueden hacer un email, cualquier email, o se juntan ustedes como vecinos y decidan ustedes si gustan. Nosotros tenemos buena historia con asociaciones así de esa manera, que trabajan bien con nosotros y podemos ayudarles más si hay una voz junta que represente a toda la colonia.
Other questions?
¿Algo más?
I have one idea.
Yeah.
In Southdale Park, there is a sign that Town of Madison Fire Department, I think, has the key for, that instead of just taping a little piece of paper to it, it'd be great to just use the letters, old school like, and put messages on that board for people.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I did contact the town hall regarding that sign and was told that the fire department used to change it. They don't do it anymore. I did stop by there to get a couple of keys to access so that we could put signs in there, maybe change it. The keys that they gave me did not work because there was no lock on the sign.
Figures.
So I returned those keys and we did as we could, put the signs up.
For the future.
If there's no lock, are you able to get to it then?
No, we taped them on the outside.
No, but are you able to get in there then?
You'd have to take a Phillips screwdriver and take a portion of the sign apart.
We'll call Public Works.
There we go,
There's your first project.
En el parque, I'm sorry, what park was it that the sign is at?
Southdale.
En el parque Southdale hay un lugar donde para poner noticias. En este momento no se está usando porque los bomberos eran lo que lo hacían y ahora ya no lo hacen. Entonces nosotros pusimos un sign con tape, ¿verdad? Pero sí, ya pedimos las llaves para poder usarlo, pero ninguna de las llaves que nos dieron funcionaron. Regresamos las llaves y ahora para poder abrir el sign tenemos que llevar un screwdriver, un desarmador, gracias. Un desarmador para poder abrir el sign y poner señas. Pero sí estamos trabajando en poder usarlo para darles noticias o para darles lo nuevo que está pasando en la ciudad. Nada más danos tiempo, el señor de Public Works ya sabe.
Additional questions?
¿Alguna cosa más?
Prior to turning this over to Mayor Richardson, I will again encourage folks to talk with our department heads and other department representatives who are in the room if you have other questions you want to talk about. I want to thank all of our department heads and team members for coming and helping present information. I want to thank our hosts, Quartz, for allowing us to use the facility. And a special thank you to Carla as well for translating on the fly.
Thank you. On the spot.
Yeah. Mayor Richardson?
Hey, Chad,
excuse me.
Before we end, could I throw a few things out here?
Sure. Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Nice job, Chad.
So as introduced before, I'm Jay Allen. When the attachment takes place, I'm going to be one of your 2 elected representatives. So the question came up earlier, who's going to fight for you? That's my job. That's why I'm elected. That's why I'm here. My phone number's on the city website. There's an email address there too. You can call me, contact me anytime. My phone is, like most of us, attached to me all the time. So each district, in the city of Fitchburg, each district has 2 representatives that are your representatives. In the town, you had 3 representatives that represented the whole town. Each one of them was basically representing about 6,500 people or so in the whole town. In the city of Fitchburg, each district will have about 8,000 people now. And so there's 2 of us who represent you. So my job is to fight with you on Madison Metro. I am none too pleased about the changes that are being proposed. And I've offered some suggestions already, and I will be offering some more.
Okay, yeah.
There's a chunk.
Él es su representante electivo cuando se vuelven ustedes parte de la ciudad de Fitchburg. Ya al hacerse ustedes parte de Fitchburg, él va a representar, es el que va a pelear por ustedes. Alguien preguntó, ¿quién va a pelear por nosotros? Él es el que va a pelear por ustedes. Él los representa a ustedes. Hay también otro representante, pero ahorita no está disponible aquí. Who's the other representative?
Shannon Strassman.
Shannon Strassman es la otra representante de ustedes aquí para esta zona. Anteriormente, cuando ustedes eran el pueblo de Madison, solo tenían 3 representantes, ahora van a tener 2. Queda igual, se pueden comunicar con ellos como quieran ustedes. El teléfono de él siempre está disponible y su información en cómo contactarlos se encuentra en la página de internet de nosotros. Él también ya se está comunicando con Madison Metro para decirles qué es lo que está escuchando él aquí también. Y a él también le da mucho coraje que le quiten a ustedes sus rutas de autobús cuando de verdad se necesitan.
So I just wanted to hit a few other things quick. I was on the city council when the decision to dissolve the town was made. I was in the room for those negotiations, so if you would like to talk to me later, I can tell you what went on. I'm not going to do it in a public meeting. So as some of you may have seen, none of your voter registration is going to change. If you're registered to vote in the town, you will still be able to vote in Fitchburg. At this time, we are currently looking, and we had added some money to the budget to find a polling place in Southdale so that you won't have to travel all the way to Fitchburg City Hall or someplace else to vote, to make it a lot more convenient for you. So that's one of the things we're working on. I made a couple of notes. Let me see what the other ones were. We do have some really great people on our city staff. Some of them I've known for many, many years, like Michael and Joyce in the Economic Development Department, and Tracy and Scott Endel and Mandy. Some of them are newer, weren't here when I was previously on the council. I got reelected again a year ago. But they know a lot of things, and they can be very helpful. And if you're having trouble getting the answers you want, call me. I'll get them.
Give me a minute. Oh, yes. You kind of gave me a lot of information there, so it's going to be really slammed down. De nuevo, él es su representante, ¿verdad? Él estuvo aquí cuando se hizo la decisión de deshacerse del pueblo de Madison y verse parte de la ciudad de Fitchburg o de la ciudad de Madison. So, si ustedes tienen alguna pregunta sobre eso, él es su informatorio para eso. Él tiene más de 20 años con la ciudad. Él conoce muy bien a todos los departamentos aquí con nosotros. That's the condensed version.
Okay. Sadly, I don't speak Spanish.
No hablo español.
So if you have questions and you send them to me in Spanish, I will reach out to get it translated, and then I will get a translation of the response back to you. But that process may take a little bit of time. It may take a few days because I can't do it on my own.
Translate, yeah.
Yes.
De nuevo, él no habla español. So, si gustan comunicarse con él, le pueden mandar un email o un mensaje y él va a encontrar alguna persona que le pueda traducir lo que están pidiendo y ya así ya les puede regresar una contesta. That's not the right word. ¿Verdad? Su respuesta, perdóneme, gracias. Ya se puede que se tarde un poquito porque pues como él no habla español, tienen que encontrar a alguien que le pueda traducir y la hora que lo contacten a él también es importante.
All right, so we talked about transit quite a bit. What I'm understanding is that Madison Metro is trying to find a more efficient way to run the service as it has evolved over the last 20 years. Well, the change in routes is not being driven by the annexation. the change in routes is being driven by Madison Metro's operation. So the hubs, the transit points that you know of, the 4 transit points, are going away. Those are not going to exist in the future. So my understanding is the routes are laid out so that buses can make connections with other buses at bus stops instead of at those transfer points. And so the timing is a lot of what's driving what roads the buses go down. Now some of the...
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Ahora, los cambios de las rutas de autobuses no es algo que está sucediendo porque ustedes se van a convertir en parte de Fitchburg o parte de Madison. Esto es algo que está cambiando porque se está haciendo el cambio para salvar más dinero, para ser más eficientes con los buses. Ahora, ahorita están los centros de buses donde se sube uno al bus, va al centro de bus y luego pesca otro bus y se va para otro lugar, ¿verdad? Eso ya no van a existir. Ahora, cuando usted se suba en un bus, se va a bajar en otro parada de autobús y ahí se va a subir al bus que sigue. Los centrales ya no van a existir. Okay.
If you go to the city's website, you can find the videos of our meetings. And last night we had a rather lengthy meeting in which transit was discussed. So some of these things that were brought up tonight were talked about in that meeting. We've also talked about in the past, and this discussion's coming up again, about having internal Fitchburg routes that we would fund ourselves and or maybe operated by Madison Metro, maybe operated by some other bus company. We don't know right now because we're just at the very beginning of this. But if that's something that interests you, please get yourself involved in that process and let us know because, we're here to listen to you.
Thank you. Ahorita, anoche tuvimos una cita donde se discutió mucho perdón, se me está trabando la lengua ya, sobre los autobuses. Ahorita estamos viendo si hay la oportunidad de que nosotros podamos hacer nuestros propios buses o que la ciudad de Fitchburg pague para buses para ustedes o para la ciudad de nosotros, entre nosotros mismos. Pero, de nuevo, se tiene que comunicar con nosotros, saber para que sepamos qué es lo que necesitan de verdad ustedes. Y él es su representante, él es la persona perfecta para pasarle la información.
And then I just had 2 other things that I wanted to hit on. One is I've gotten a number of phone calls regarding the Southdale Park. Fitchburg has already budgeted in our capital improvement plan some money to replace the park equipment. And over time, the Parks Department will be reaching out to the neighborhood to find out what you want that park to look like in the future.
Ahora sí, él ha recibido muchas llamadas sobre el parque de Southdale. Sabemos que el parque necesita mucha ayuda, se tiene que reponer los juegos y las actividades que tienen para los niños. Ahorita, si ustedes tienen el tiempo, comuníquense también de nuevo con el Departamento de Parques porque van a comenzar a buscar qué es lo que quieren ustedes en el parque, cómo quieren que se vea, qué equipo quieren para los niños, todo ese tipo. Pero el Departamento de Parques es el que está encargado, que van a comenzar a arreglárselos.
And the other thing I wanted to hit on is, and this will be for any landlords that happen to be listening tonight, Fitchburg does have a rent abatement ordinance that is very similar to the city of Madison's. And what that means is that if your property is not being kept up to proper standards, residents can go through a process with our building inspection department to be able to withhold rent until those things are remedied. And this is something we take very seriously. And the other thing in regard to landlords is that Fitchburg has been really heavily involved in mandatory recycling going back to the 70s. I know for a fact that there are a number of apartment complexes in the Southdale neighborhood that do not even provide recycling receptacles for their residents, and that's something that's going to change because they're going to have to start doing that. So that's all I had. Thank you.
De nuevo, él quería decirle a cualquier persona que esté aquí, que sea propietario, que nosotros sí estamos muy involucrados como ciudad en el programa de reclamo de la basura, ¿verdad? si ustedes son propietarios, también tenemos un programa donde los que les rentan pueden meter una queja, gracias, una queja contra los propietarios para que les arreglen sus propiedades y no tengan que pagar renta hasta que se les arregle como el agua, lo que necesitan en el apartamento. El departamento de inspectores va y inspecta su casa y ya mete la queja contra el propietario y ya ustedes les pueden ayudar mucho, claro. Pero de nuevo, lo de reclamo, eso sí es algo que las ciudades de los 70 está involucrado y para que se comiencen a preparar porque muchos de los apartamentos aquí en esta área no enforzan lo que viene siendo el programa de reclamo y eso va a ser algo nuevo para ustedes. Good.
Again, thank you for being here. Staff is here. Please, talk with them. Ask them questions. There's some cookies left. Please eat those. And again, just to reiterate my thanks to Courts and also to Carla. Thank you.
De nuevo, gracias por venir. Por favor, hablen con los representantes de los departamentos y muchas gracias a los del edificio Quartz por venir y darnos el permiso de estar aquí para ustedes. También hay galletas disponibles, por favor, cómanselas. Cookies.